everybody. Welcome back to my Zero Carb Life. I'm Kelly Hogan, and I am so excited because this is the very first time that just the five of us, and we are the five coaches for my Zero Carb Life, the first time we have come on together. So thank y'all for doing this. I'm excited. And today we're going to talk about beware the people who absolutely, positively should not do carnivore. Maybe. Right? Okay. So that's just a little clickbaity, but at the same time, there are some things that we hear repeatedly that people will say, I would love to do it. Oh, Kelly, Karen, Dana, I would love to do it, but I can't because. And one of the ones we're going to start with, like, everybody knows if you have this one, then you can't possibly do carnivore. But we even have something to say about that one, right, Nannette? Oh, before I get into that, let's talk about who do we even have here. Let's do quick introductions. Karen, hey, welcome back.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Karen Miles. I've been with Kelly since she started coaching. The first 2 months I was not, but after that, I've been with her this whole time. Long story short, I'm a 5.5 year carnivore. I started this after doing low carb for a little over 2 years, and I had a lot of success with that, but I still had some joint pain. And I heard Dr. Berry mention this and mention Kelly Hogan, so I dug in, and the joint pain was gone. I could sleep. I don't have to roll, toss, and turn all night. The joint pain is my number one reason why I love carnivore. My inflammation is gone, and that's why I love it. And
Awesome.
my husband joined me not quite a year ago, so he's doing it too, and that makes life so much easier.
Fantastic. We love you, Karen. This is probably your fifth time or something on the channel. If any of you think, well, she looks familiar, well, she should. Nannette, what's your story, babe?
Hi. So I've been kind of in the nutrition space for almost 30 years because food choice has been the most healing thing for my family. We've had a lot of problems. We've had a lot of health challenges. I've been carnivore for over 3 years and in your groups with you for, I think, 17, 18 months now. And the benefits for me from carnivore have been healing of a chronic positional headache. That started in 2021. But all my life, I had chronic constipation, IBS, temporal mandibular TMJ pain, jaw, face, mouth pain, joint, muscle, bone pain, doctors playing with rheumatoid arthritis. No, not quite that. Fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, all the things. To me, it was just pain, right? 20 years ago, I lost 40 pounds. Going grain free, so you could say low carb. But until I went carnivore, that 40 pounds would go, gain 20, yes, go down 20, gain 20, go down 20. It was not sustainable until I went carnivore because life would, it all depend on how hard life was in the moment.
Yeah. Thanks, Nannette. And Nannette probably looks familiar. She has definitely been on the channel. This is maybe third or fourth even?
Yeah. Fourth time. Yeah.
Right. Well, thanks for coming back. Dana. Hi, Dana. You've been on the channel before, but it's been a little while.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
It has been. It has been. I'm Dana Barker, and I've been carnivore for 32 months. And I've been with Kelly for a little over 2 years, about 25 months. In this process, I have lost 48 pounds, joint pain's gone, my mood. That's the part that I didn't know that I would even be able, I didn't know to expect that. And then when it happened, it was like the sense, the peace of mind that came over me. That was a huge gift. And it is a gift because I am a caregiver. My husband has Parkinson's disease, so I need some peace of mind for that. And I help do the breakout rooms with Coach Nannette. She does a great job teaching things out of the handbook or just out of her brain. She's got some great ideas and stuff. So I love being a part of the group and what all it has brought me.
And boy, what you have brought to us. Thank you, Dana. Seriously, you are just such a compassionate and experienced soul. So thanks, Dana. And a whole bunch of you ought to recognize Kathy David because she has one of the most viewed videos on the entire channel is Kathy David. So welcome back.
Thank you. I am 3+ year carnivore. 3+ year in Kelly's groups as a participant. And now I'm so happy to say I'm part of her team and I get to support her every week, helping out in the chat box. And then we also do breakout rooms, a third breakout room. It's normally Karen and I, and we just have free chat sharing time, and everyone is uh, asking questions, or they're helping each other. We laugh, we cry, we just have such a great time. We learn so much from each other. It's just a wonderful time. Carnivore, I've lost, from my top weight, I've lost 70 pounds. I had really bad arthritic pain in my one knee. That is totally gone. I had skin tags. I'm 73. I
Oh,
was still breaking out. My complexion cleared up, and like Dana, the mood. I always thought I was a positive person, but oh my gosh, since carnivore, it's like a new, who is this person? I'm just so happy all the time and I'm just enjoy people so much. So this way of eating, this way of life has just turned a corner for me, and I never expected to have the additional friends that I have now. And I'm so happy to be part of Kelly's team. And we're here to help. We're here to help.
yeah. Oh, I am the luckiest, truly the luckiest soul ever to spend several hours per week with you, ladies. Y'all are amazing. When they mention the breakout rooms, so I lead all of the whole group classes each week. And then sometimes I have to repeat things. For instance, when it comes to TDEE talk or Metabolic Reset Days. And there are folks in the groups who have been here for years, right? And they've heard it. They've been there. They've done that. They can stay with me when they want to. But if they would rather, they can go hear the lesson with another separate topic that changes every week and every month with Nannette and Dana. And if they feel like they just need community time, they can go into a very small group session where there's usually no more than 15 people with Kathy and Karen. They can just talk about anything that's on their mind. So if you feel like, wow, these ladies have had amazing results, but too bad for me because I can't do carnivore, well, we're going to talk about it. So I would say I don't hear this one very often, but when we do hear it, most people would think, oh, well, absolutely. You couldn't do carnivore if you have alpha gal. And then many people watching may not know anything more than, is that the tick thing? So tell us a little.
There is a tick that when it bites you, it is a carrier of basically an allergy to meat. And you can't avoid it. You can't pick which tick bites you. And most people probably don't know someone with it, but I've been blessed to have 3 people in my life who have this. First of all, the allergy is to animals on 4 legs. So picture that. So what does that leave remaining? Fish, seafood, and
Poultry.
Thank you. Fish, seafood, poultry. So thankfully also eggs come from predominantly chickens and, ducks. So the 2 ladies who I know their symptoms, I mean, it's like a huge autoimmune flare when they eat this food. And of course, that's how you eventually become diagnosed by an aware doctor, because some doctors wouldn't even think to test for this. But all of a sudden, you're very sick, you're very weak, you're having like allergy symptoms, you're no energy for days. You used to be able to walk far, and now you can't make it 10 feet. Why? Because you've eaten meat and you didn't know you were bitten by this tick. The ladies that I know were already pursuing health through diet.
Okay.
And they were very frustrated that they were on the verge of carnivore and then they get this disease. But they persevered. So to me, it's a story of what it often comes down to: choose your hard.
Yeah.
Because they knew they're going to be sick doing what they've always done.
Right.
And now there's this huge, huge obstacle before them, but are they still going to do it even though? And so these 2 ladies have chosen to. And I know what they eat. So this lady lives on, she gave me her list specifically: smoked salmon, duck and chicken eggs, chicken thighs with bone and skin, chicken sausage. She says just about every day she eats those.
That
Now,
sounds delicious,
yes,
honestly.
and both of these ladies started out, and when I first advising my friend, fat's hard, right? Because seafood and poultry is low on fat, high
Yeah.
protein, low fat. We need a lot more fat than that. Both of them have gone to duck fat. Predominantly duck fat they're looking to do. Okay. So that's how healing carnivore has proven to them and to be the right path, that even with this huge obstacle, they're still doing it.
Well, what's so cool about her including eggs and salmon? We just talked about that this week. So eggs cover all of the essential vitamins, and the only thing that Judy Cho says that eggs are missing is the vitamin C. And even though carnivores have a much lower need for vitamin C, she's eating the fish, the salmon.
Right.
Salmon, wild caught salmon is a great source of vitamin C, and she's getting the fat from the ducks. So I'm so happy for these ladies, and I'm glad that they have you. Thank you, Nannette.
You're
For
welcome.
hopefully, if anybody's watching and you thought you were done for with carnivore because of this tick, you can overcome. All right, the next thing that I hear pretty often from people is I'll hear that they can't do carnivore because of fatty liver disease. And the reason they think that is because their doctors have told them you have to cut out fat. You need to go low fat because you've got this fatty liver. And if any of you have ever listened to Dr. Ken Berry, and I know you have, he says you can absolutely reverse fatty liver disease in typically 3 to 6 months if you just cut out the carbohydrates. In fact, he said in his 30-ish years of practice, he has never had one single example, not one patient, not one person come to him and say that their fatty liver was not reversed with a carnivore diet. Is that not awesome?
That's
He
great.
says, in fact, that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is one of the most reliably easy to reverse diseases out there. So I have watched some of his fatty liver videos, and I will link to at least a couple of them below. What I always find interesting is, okay, he says that, and he says that in the video. You can absolutely reverse it. So I go to the comments to see, is there going to be one person? I haven't found one. Not one. His comments, his videos get so many comments and views. It was just person after person saying, I can stand by this. I had fatty liver. It is cleared. My doctor was shocked. All I had to do was cut out the carbs. And I have a good friend, Tammy Reichard, had a fatty liver diagnosis. Her scans, I've seen the pictures. I think it was actually in the video, a grayed out liver that is now completely clear. Not because of medicine. That was because of carnivore. And we hear it pretty often in the groups that people will show up and say that. So if you have ever had a doctor to say, oh, it's the fat, it's really not. On similar lines, doctors will say, here's the next one. You clearly cannot eat a lot of meat because you have kidney disease. And people are often like, oh, yeah, that would be traumatic. No. Actually, Dr. Berry again and Dr. Baker and Dr. Chafee have all done videos on this saying, no, even if you already have kidney disease, then you can still do carnivore. And they sometimes recommend doing more of a higher fat, moderate protein that you may want to ease into it and not eat lots of lean meat that can be harder on the kidneys. But there are plenty of people who say, even to healthy people, they'll say, oh gosh, what about your kidneys? I'm like, my kidney function is great. And a lot of people say their GFR numbers improve on carnivore. And some folks who were even stage, I saw, again, go to the comments. I'll link to these videos. Go read the comments. They were stage 3 and got all the way back to stage nothing. If you notice that your BUN, your bun levels go up a little bit on carnivore, that just indicates that you have more urea in the bloodstream. And Dr. Berry and Dr. Baker have both said that it really doesn't mean that you're developing kidney disease. That's literally just showing you have more protein because you're eating more protein. However, if you were to ever notice that your creatinine, not creatine, creatinine levels are increasing, that is an indication of kidney disease. That is nothing to take lightly, but that is one of the number one markers that improves on carnivore. So check that. Like, that's an important marker. if you already have, kidney struggles, I'm sure your doctor is keeping an eye on that, but you want to make sure that's headed in the right direction. So there's two more things we can knock out and say, yeah, fatty liver, kidney issues, meat is still good.
You guys that are watching this, if you know people that have these issues, send this video to them.
Yes, for
And
heaven's sakes. Yeah.
I did not tell Kelly this before this video, but my husband reversed his non-alcoholic fatty liver as well. And he didn't do it on keto low carb. It took carnivore. So there you go.
Nice.
There you go. That is awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, another one I hear is, well, I couldn't eat that much meat because I've had gastric bypass. Do y'all ever hear people say that?
Mhm.
Oh, I can't eat that much at one time. So Dana told me she has heard this one quite a bit. So what do you tell folks, Dana?
Yeah, we do have members that have had bariatric surgery. None of us here have, but we know that many successful bariatric carnivores do exist.
Yes.
And they don't have gallbladders either. We'll talk about that later. Though not always, but many, many times, under eating and malnutrition are very common hurdles that those who've had bad bariatric surgery in general experience. The first thing that we recommend for bariatric members to get started on a carnivore way of eating, and this may need to be done carefully and incrementally, but first remove all sugary, prepackaged processed foods. Remove grains, breads, pasta, rice, oats, etc. All starches. Potatoes. Cut out spinach, almonds, kiwis, raspberries to help lower the oxalate load that can sometimes be a problem. As carbs lower, fats then naturally increase, and fats also help someone meet their caloric goal and is satiating.
Yeah.
Working on transitioning to full carnivore over several weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's key. Do it slowly. Transition. Stay on your doctor ordered meds until it's time to test for deficiencies, which I know they do test after bariatric surgery and things. And as someone transitions, they may need to eat 3 to 4 meals or more a day of meat. And as far as meats and what's easiest for them to digest, it's the softer ones, meats, eggs. So eggs, fish, especially they say right after surgery, those are the easiest. Soft cooked, well cooked, slow cooked, chopped meats that are easy to chew thoroughly. And there's a key, is chewing thoroughly. Avoid water and drinking while you're eating to avoid diluting the stomach acid that helps then digest the food. Some people do need to resort to using a beef protein powder, such as Equip Prime Protein. That can be helpful during that time to meet calorie and protein needs. Like we all say, we prefer chewing and eating our meat, but sometimes it is necessary. You want to avoid extended fasting because that could lead to or exacerbate undereating. And that's what we're trying to get past here. Intermittent fasting is okay. 10 to 12 hour eating window for your 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 small meals. That's a good idea. And then you intermittent fast overnight. Avoid eating liquid fat. That sometimes can cause diarrhea. So liquid fat, like the fat rendered off of, say, hamburger or bacon grease, melted butter.
Yes.
Avoid that. Supplements that can help with digestive issues are digestive enzymes that help break down the food into small bits in order for them to be more easily absorbed as nutrients.
Right.
Ox bile, it breaks down the fats in the small intestine. And HCl with betaine or hydrochloride with betaine, that enhances the stomach acid levels. One of our dear friends, Adrienne Gledhill, has shared publicly
Hmm.
that she had gastric bypass surgery, and she says carnivore is the only way she gets relief from debilitating episodes of hypoglycemia, so low
Yes.
glycemia. Someone who's had any type of bariatric surgery can experience success eating the most nutrient-dense food out there, meat. Eat meat, save the human.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Conclusion.
If your stomach is so small, you don't want to waste it on junk or anything that is not the absolute best nutrient dense food on the planet. And as you are going through all of that, it is almost exactly the same for someone without a gallbladder. And that's another big one that people say is I can't do it without a gallbladder. And that's terrible news for me because I don't have one either. Oh, neither does Dana. And here we are, right? So
Yeah.
it's not terrible news. You can do it. I mean, almost verbatim same advice. If you don't have a gallbladder, you might want to transition over to carnivore more slowly. Drop the carbs a little slower, drop the oxalates a little slower. And then also those same supplements, the same advice about eating 3 to 4 times per day and allowing your gallbladder time to adjust to higher fat meats, and it will. So if you don't have a gallbladder, go back and listen again to exactly what Dana said. Every bit of that applies also to the gallbladder people. Right. So I think some of us here have had support from people in our lives. I have my husband's support now. I've shared before that it was a little bit, family was unsure at first. But some people say I can't do carnivore because nobody in my life eats this way. Nobody in my life believes in it. They all put me down and say this is crazy. So I don't think I could do it. Anybody want to speak to that?
I'll go. I'll
Okay.
go. I did this 4.5 years without Jeff doing it. He supported me the whole time. Good thing. But others are like, "What are you eating today?" I'd go to work. I was a teacher. I'd bring my lunch, and I'd have burger patties or chicken, a whole big pound of meat sometimes. And like, "What are you eating today?" And I'm thinking, "What are you eating today?" You're eating that big salad, or that all that other stuff and the chips and the fries and stuff. I'm nourishing my body, I feel. But I had a lot of good support through the years, but there was naysayers. And even Jeff diagnosed with cancer. People are like, just let him eat whatever he wants. He's got cancer. What the heck? You let him have all the sugar. No, sugar feeds cancer. We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta talk to people. What's benefiting? Hey, I can sleep better. I don't have my aches and pains in my body. That's what I tell them.
Yeah. And by the way, if any of you missed the episode, Karen shared about her husband, Jeff. He was not already carnivore when he found out about cancer. That's why he went carnivore. PSA numbers over 500 and now down below 2.
Below 1 now.
Below 1. Yeah. So now, of course, he's very supportive in doing it with her because it likely saved his life. It's incredible.
And I thought you were going to say, refer to Karen's last video with you because you talked about making it sustainable and fun.
Yeah.
And I can testify that even though my husband and I have always been on this health journey together, we've always made the changes together, we've been carnivore together, we still together could not be consistent until we joined this group. Because we had no one in our local world to support us. So it was still, we're having a hard day, or we're going out to eat with friends, or there were still those situations. And it wasn't until joining this group that we're like, no, we got our people. I mean, we have you're local. I mean, you're local in my heart, you're local on the screen, and we're soon going to see each other. So yeah. So that's a way to compensate for when you don't have someone in your life who's rooting you on and that you can go out to lunch with, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, you are one of the most social people that I know. Truly, you have so many circles. You're very social within the carnivore circle, but you have many other circles too. What do you think about that?
I was out with some friends, and I don't know if I ate before I went with them or if I just ordered a burger patty or something. And my one friend, I mean, many years, 40 years, she says, Kathy, I feel so bad that we're eating this in front of you. And my response was, don't feel sorry for me. I said, I am fine. I am fine with what I'm eating. Your food doesn't bother me. I said, I'm here for you guys. I'm here
Yes.
socialize with you, my friends. The food doesn't matter to me. And I'm nourishing my body, and I wouldn't give up how happy I feel today to eat what you're eating. It's just, I don't, so don't feel that way. And she felt so sorry for me. And I don't feel sorry for me, boy. I'm fine.
I'm
I'm
not deprived.
No, we're not deprived at all.
oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
And even at a restaurant, if there's nothing, I feel like I can have. When does that happen? Like, where am I eating? A vegan restaurant?
Vegan restaurant.
Never, never.
I've been brought to a vegan restaurant once while I was carnivore. Trust me, it's a nightmare.
That sounds horrible. Horrible. I haven't tried that. Not as a carnivore, but even if it were under that circumstance, I would say, well, don't feel bad for me. I have a big ribeye waiting at home. I'm good. And again, I love what you said. I wasn't here for the food anyway. I could have had food at home for cheaper and better. I'm here for the people. Yes, the experience. Yeah, that's great advice. Okay, another one. Y'all probably heard this too. A neighbor expressed this and said, I've heard you do the carnivore and it does sound delicious. What would be better than meat? Well, nothing. And let's go ahead and answer that one. Nothing. But I've got, some heart issues. I've had a history of heart disease in my family and even myself. If somebody says that, well, the root cause of heart disease is not meat, it's inflammation. That's what's causing the heart disease. So if we cut out seed oils and any food that is inflaming your body, therein lies the solution, not cutting out meat. And meat is known to be so anti-inflammatory. Dr. Ovadia, he wrote the book, Stay Off My Operating Table. I'll link to a few videos. He's been on the channel before. He does say, if you are, even as a carnivore, if you know that you have some plaque buildup, maybe you've gone for an angiogram, or even if you've had a CAC, I'm going to throw this out there. Even if you've had a CAC score done, and you do have some calcium buildup, I would encourage you to go for further testing, whether it's an ultrasound of your carotid arteries or an angiogram, some better testing. That is not a definitive test on what's really going on. But let's say you've got problems. Then he says you may actually want to be cautious even about which meats you eat. And all of us here are the first to say, eat the meat you can afford, that you enjoy. Like, we're not pushers of the grass-finished meat for everybody. In fact, I don't even prefer it, frankly, from a taste standpoint. But he says if you're eating pork that has been from poorly fed pigs or chicken from poorly fed chickens, or even if you are very sensitive, that your CRP, C-reactive protein numbers, can go up, even if you're eating poorly fed beef. Now, because of the filtration of the four stomachs, it's less likely, but it can happen. So he says, keep an eye on your inflammation markers. And there are ways that we can bring it down. Obviously, cut out carbs and junky food and the seed oils. But you can also add foods that are rich in omega-3s. So fish, for example, salmon and sardines are the highest in omega-3s, and grass-finished meat has a far better omega-3 to 6 ratio than grain-finished meat. So it might be worth saying, okay, I'll get my lab work done in another 3 months to see if that CRP number is coming down. And here's what you're looking for. You really want that under a 1.0. That means you're doing well. Nothing is bad going on in your body if your CRP number is below a 1.0. If you're below 0.3, you can pretty safely say, I am marked safe from inflammation. And if it is higher, it can be high for even small things, even things like a sunburn or a mild UTI, or even if you've hurt your neck or something, you've got some form of inflammation going on, then that number can be high very temporarily. It's kind of a volatile number. So don't panic, but we really want to see in general that number is going down. So yes, I have a history of heart disease in my family too. That's partly why I eat this way, as a matter of fact. Okay, for those that say, and I see it in almost every video somebody will post, how on earth could you afford to eat meat at every single meal of the day. Yeah.
I've got a few tips here. I got a
Okay.
few tips. So, first of all, you want to focus on a nutrient dense, affordable cuts of meat. So, there's always ground beef. You can buy it in bulk. You can freeze it in portions. Eggs, hard-boiled eggs. You can fry them in butter. You can scramble them. You could make deviled eggs. You could do a lot with eggs. Chicken. So the chicken thighs, chicken leg quarters, whole
Cheap.
chicken.
Cheap.
Those are cheap. Those are
Cheap.
you can roast a whole chicken, use the leftovers for several meals, and save the bones for bone broth.
Yes.
Pork shoulder. Pork shoulders can be not as expensive. You can get ground pork, get a good fatty that's got a lot of fat and it's usually pretty cheap. Great for slow cooking. Canned fish, tuna, sardines, salmon. Fat trimmings. If you go to like a normal grocery store, not a big giant mega mart, but a normal grocery store and where they have a butcher, you could ask them for the fat trimmings, and some butchers will give it to you for free or charge a very, very nominal fee for the fat, which you can just cut up and throw it in an air fryer or fry it up. Frozen meat is usually cheaper than fresh meat.
Right.
That's usually cheaper. And then check the sales and stock up when the sales are out there. I've heard several people say if you go early in the morning, and you go to a regular grocery store,
Yes.
not a mega mart,
Yeah.
they've got they need to get rid of some meat, and they put the sales stickers on those packages, and that's another good time to really stock up is first thing in the morning when they open. So that's what I have for saving money.
Yeah. How much do y'all pay where you are for a dozen eggs? Do you know? My mom said in her town it's below $3 a dozen now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I'm a total egg snob. Total. Pasture-raised eggs for this girl
Yeah.
because I can.
Yep. That's right.
They recently went from like 7.80 a dozen, and right now they're like 4.15.
Oh.
And
Yeah,
that's being snobby.
and I got organic cage free. I think that's as far as I went. I didn't get overly snobby. $4.99 the other day. I was so pleased because we were having to spend $6.99, $7.99 for a bit there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What about you, Karen? Dozen
I get
eggs?
mine from a local friend. I pay $3 a dozen.
Nice.
But I can't always get those. So I think I paid like $6 for an 18 pack the other day.
Okay. So let's say, even if somebody is paying $5 a dozen, which sounds like we can all manage that, if you were to eat 5 of those eggs, you are getting 30 grams of protein. And if you cook them in butter, and even 1 tablespoon of butter, you're getting, for those that care about calories, you're getting about 500 calories from that. And you're going to pay, what did I say, $5 a dozen? You're going to pay less than $2.50 for a complete, beautiful meal. Where else are you going to get such a nutrient dense filling? Many women say, I can't even eat 5 eggs. You're going to be stuffed for less than $3. That is a steal. It really is.
Yeah.
Karen, I've been with you via Marco Polo on many shopping trips. Do you have anything to add on the?
Yes, I do. And Kathy gave me some great ideas you had, Kathy, but I like buying in bulk. Certain holidays, they have rib roasts on sale, Thanksgiving, Christmas, sometimes Easter. I'll buy a whole rib roast for, $8, $9 a pound and cut them up into steaks and freeze them that way. I love doing that. I could buy a pork loin this long for less than $2 a pound, and I'll cut it in roasts. Dana, when you come to my house, I'm doing a rolled stuffed roast. I can't wait to make it for you. A roast, I can make pork chops, I can make pork nuggets. This whole roast, that was maybe $10, $11, $12. And I have all these meals from this roast. I love doing that. I dehydrate it. I slice it real thin and dehydrate it. I love pork loin. Again, it's not fatty, so you have to supplement. Another thing, we're talking about eggs. I might make a nice big 1 ribeye steak for Jeff and I, maybe in the air fryer because it's easy, maybe the grill, whatever. And I'll do an egg or 2 on the side because maybe we'll split the
Yes.
rib eye. We still get the rib eye, but maybe I'll supplement with one or two eggs on the side to help save money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we're going to mark that one off the list of reasons people cannot do carnivore. All right. Here's one that I hear. It's gout. Everybody knows if you have gout, you should not be eating meat, especially the red kind. It's the worst, right? Well, first of all, our own bodies make purines. In fact, our body makes more purines than you could ever possibly get from actual food. So I heard it was Dr. Berry. He said it would be like saying, do not pour that cup of water in the ocean because you're going to flood the earth. It's ridiculous, right? Your body has so many purines are not the problem. It turns out that the research on reduce those purines is very, very weak at best. And many people do report on a standard American diet when they had gout, if they ate more red meat, they did in fact get gout flare-ups. So it seems to suggest like meat was the problem. And that can be a thing. A high carb diet, when your insulin is very elevated, you might get a flare up from this or that. And if you've been told it's from red meat, you're probably gonna be like, no, I'm pretty sure it was the meat. Because that message is just repeated all the time. When we get people to give up the carbs, I shouldn't say we get people, when people cut out the carbs, hopefully on their own free will, we're not snatching it from them, they often find that this is kind of weird. They will get one big flare up in the beginning. Sometimes things get worse before they get better. And I have seen that. And some people will say, I knew it. It really was the meat. But then what people report is if they stick with it, they never have another one again. And people who eat only meat for long periods of time are completely cured. They have no more sign of gout. And even though sometimes they say, but my uric acid levels are still high. So you can have high uric acid levels and zero symptoms at all. I have tested my uric acid levels as a 15-year carnivore. Mine were actually below the norm. So you won't just automatic. Karen too. She's tested hers. Ours both run really low. So it's not a given that uric acid will go up. But even if it does, it's only a problem if it's a problem. So the things that are the worst for gout is alcohol. I think most people know that. Fructose. Fructose is absolutely, if you try to do carnivore and you are including fruit, people, you are keeping fructose in your diet and that you're going to have problems. Mark my words. The real underlying issue, just like with heart disease, is inflammation. I know we throw that word around a lot for things, but if you are lowering your inflammation and keeping an eye on your CRP, once again, and that's going down, you will likely never have another issue with gout. So grains, fructose, anything inflammatory, seed oils again. So make sure your meat is not being cooked in garbage canola oil. My own butcher, my local butcher, his name is Russell, and he is getting closer to going public with me. He's not even on social media, but he says, I'm thinking about it. Russell suffered with gout his entire adult life. He has been on multiple medications and was still, I mean, I've been told it is one of the few conditions that even women will say is worse than childbirth, which I don't know. I haven't had gout, but I have, I've got babies. It was not fun. He is now free from that. He has had nothing but meat, almost exclusively beef he started January, not this past January, the one before. And so he's well over a year, almost a year and a half, and he's doing great. I have also been told that deli meat can trigger, that there's some suspicion that it could be the nitrates, but that if people have gout, to avoid those more processed deli meats, and that they may benefit from adding some magnesium and potassium. So sometimes people find that adding some electrolytes can help with that as well. But gout sufferers, you could still do carnivore. Just ask Russell and Nannette's husband, Craig, right? There are lots of carnivores who have gotten some relief from gout. All right, here's another one. I don't know how to cook meat. I would starve because I don't even know what to do with meat, or I don't even like the taste of meat. I guess that's two different issues. So cooking meat. I think what people picture is that we are all standing out 365 days of the year at our grills, cranking the gas and flipping. I got to tell you, I don't even know how to do it.
Either. I don't either.
So how easy is it for y'all? Let's just throw out, what do you typically do if we're not grilling? What would we say the solution is to this? Ready, set, go. Air fryer. It's just that's it. Just get an air fryer. Stop being ridiculous, people. If you love grilling, have at it. Just in rain, sleet, or snow, go out there and crank your little gas and scrub it afterwards. That's my husband. He loves it. But he also loves my steak out of the air fryer. So if you don't know how to cook meat, I've got videos on it. If you want to use a grill, go to Laura Spath's channel. Seriously, she grills all the time.
Or Linda the Carnitarian.
Linda the Carnitarian is a grill master. Follow her on Instagram. I'm going to try. I think now I'm up to about 3,000 links I'm going to put below, but they'll be there. We'll get them in there. It is not tricky to open a magical meat drawer, to throw in some burger patties. You can cook them from frozen or not frozen. Throw in a New York strip. In 7 minutes, you can have most any meat you could possibly want, and it's going to taste amazing. Now, in fact, that's such a no-brainer. I'm going to move to the next thing. I think the assumption would be that we have always just craved meat, that we've always been natural carnivores, that we came out of the womb just going like, instead of wanting a bottle, we wanted a New York strip. Is that true for all of you?
No.
Well, actually, there's an iota of truth there, because my parents' fun story about me as a baby, and they have a picture of it, was me with this like leg of venison. However, of course, then society talked that out of me, and I would have told you for years that a bowl of Cheerios was my favorite food because it was easy and I could grab it quick.
Yes.
But now I've gotten in touch with that infant self again, and yes, it is so much more satisfying.
I didn't like steak unless it was drowned in A1 sauce. I wouldn't eat chicken unless it was covered in Heinz 57. I was not a natural meat eater, honestly.
How about pork chops? Whose mother? Yeah, I'd have applesauce with your pork chops because they were dried out.
Because they were so dry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So our tastes change. As you cut out processed stuff, your taste buds really do adapt. And also you learn to not overcook everything to well done.
Yeah.
I have seen people go from I can't even bear to think about red meat to then they try a decently cooked piece of meat and then tastes start to adapt. Anybody want to add to that?
The decently cooked piece of meat, I think this is a game changer. A thermometer.
We have that one.
The tasting has a probe you could put in it, but having a thermometer and know what to cook it to. Somebody gave me this magnet to know what temperatures to cook it to, or less than what it says. You don't have to go by what they say, but that's key to cooking. Make the food delicious, and not well done all the time and stuff like that. So,
and I think also a lot of people join our group thinking, okay, they've watched these influencers, I'm supposed to eat certain types of meat.
Yep.
So a lot of times they come in and say, oh, I can't eat. And they name 2 or 3 things they can't eat. And I say, but of all the meat kingdom, of all the animal kingdom, what's your favorite meat? What's your favorite? Is it chicken thighs? Is it a certain type of fish? Is it, just do that. Just do that. That can be your intro. And even if it's the rest of your life, who cares? Do you like eggs? Do you like just the yolk? Do you like chicken skins? Do you like just butter on pork rinds? Start there. So that's one thing I say. And also, over time, your palate changes when you get all those flavors out of your palate. It's like coffee. Like over the years, when I first drank coffee, I was like, oh, this is gross. Well, then I became a coffee snob over the years. And you start to taste the subtle flavors. Water, you can become a water snob. Trust me, you can become a meat snob. We now know what good meat tastes like. Yeah. So
when you mentioned influencers and what you see them eat, sometimes we see people eating a lot of organ meats, and so people will show up and be like, "Oh, but I couldn't," and the rest of us are like, "Yeah, us either." Like,
don't.
I'm not opposed to having a little, but I know that none of us here are making sure that we eat a lot of liver every day. Karen, I think do you sometimes like liver?
Jeff likes it, so I'll make it for him and I'll eat a little bit.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't love it.
No, none of us are over here choking down a bunch of organ meats either. I tried to eat kidney one day and I couldn't even cut through it. I tried to give it to my dogs. They wouldn't even eat it. I don't know. If you love kidney, post it in the comments. Go right ahead. I support you. I hope you eat my share as well, because I'm not touching it. So I think to summarize here, it's safe to say there are zero health conditions or life circumstances on the face of the earth that are ever going to be made better by eating an inflammatory, junky diet. We had actually intended to talk also about being caregivers. I know Dana mentioned that she's a caregiver. Nannette, caregiver.
Yes.
Karen's husband has been incredibly sick. He's doing great now, but for a while she had to sort of step into a caregiver role. And there's never a reason to not take care of the caregiver. Don't make the caregiver sick. You're very important to the world and to the people in your household. There's never a reason to avoid nutrients in favor of eating the foods that are going to drive addiction and inflammation, that are going to wake up that lizard brain. Mm-hmm. And so if that old addicted voice ever tells you, if you're watching this now and it's telling you, you know, eating meat is probably a bad idea because I've got this, this, and this, please remember that humans ate far more meat in times past. It wasn't all this processed, tear open convenience food, and our health was better then. Now meat consumption tends to be lower because people are opening these packages, and our mental and physical outcomes have been in the toilet, quite frankly. Hopefully you feel the love and the care that these ladies feel, the passion for helping people get into the lifeboat with us. So if you do need some accountability or some details, how you want to tweak things along the way, especially if you have a weight loss stall, but for any carnivore issue, we really would love to help. We meet on Zoom, just like this, live calls every week. And in between the meetings, we have daily support and interaction on our Facebook groups, which are completely private and password protected. There's a handbook. It is huge, but it's also organized and clickable. There's the TDEE and a video library and some videos that haven't even been here on YouTube. But most of the help, I think, comes from real life interaction with real life people, sort of like this. And we would all love to see you there, right?
Yes. Right.
Absolutely. Yes.
Please come.
Well, thank you all, you four, for coming to talk to us. And if you're considering it, I hope we've helped eliminate some of those barriers for you today. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next Saturday. Bye.
Bye. Bye.